Good day, everyone, and welcome to another session at Persian Power BI User Group. This is the second session of the Power Query Learning Series with Omid. How are you, Omid, today?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. So, for those people who join us today, or this is the first time they are watching us on YouTube, we designed a Power Query learning series with Omid. We designed for 5 or 10 sessions, and during each of this session, we will talk about one common section in Power Query, and we will review that. Actually, Omid will review that, and we will learn from Omid. So we had a great session 2 weeks ago, and today is the session about the merging and grouping. But I know, Omid, you want to focus on grouping today, so we can have another session to focus on merging. Am I correct?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it is supposed to present both Table.Group and merging, but
Yeah.
I find lots of interesting things about the Table.Group. I provided for this session. I am focusing
Okay.
on the fourth and fifth input of Table.Group, which are less known parameters. And in another session, we are going to talk about Table.Group.
That's fantastic, mate. That's fantastic. I believe that for those people who are new in Power Query, or they learn Power Query but they want to improve their knowledge, this series 5, 10, or whatever sessions will help them to improve their knowledge and and learn the Power Query from the scratch. We are like a pro. So, highly recommend to share that with your friends, and let us know. Give us the feedback. If there is a title we didn't cover up to now, just let us know in the comment section, or just send me a message on LinkedIn. Then I will talk with Umi to design a session for that one, and maybe we will hold a session in the future for that topic. So, Omid, I think you need to add your screen. You didn't add the screen, so I can't share it here. So while you are doing that one, I just want to mention we will have a session with Rick the Groot, again about the Power Query on 22nd of June. I will share all the information about that session in my LinkedIn, so you can find my LinkedIn, and I will create an event for that one. Highly recommend to attend that one. We had a great session last week with Chandip, and next week and week after that, we will continue this Power Query learning series with Omid. So follow Omid or follow me on LinkedIn, and you won't miss that there. So let me add the screen there and start this session, Omid. Over to you, mate.
So before starting table.group, I want to recommend those who started to learn Power Query or those who are expert. Follow me in LinkedIn. There are every other day challenge. You can test your knowledge in Power Query by solving them, sharing, and learn from the other solution presented by other experts. So um, today, I will talk about Table.Group, one of the most powerful function in Power Query. I believe that most of Power Query users use this function at least once for cleaning their data. But the fourth and fifth parameter are less known by most of users. That today we are going to cover all the argument of this function. Let's start it by an example. Here is the sales transaction, and we want to extract the total quantity sold by different products. It's easy to solve. You just need to click on the column product and then from Home tab, select Group by. In these windows, you are going to make the setting for this function. At the beginning, I set product as a grouping column and operation, I put it on the sum on the quantity, and present the name of column as total quantity. By pressing OK, it's result in the total sales or total quantity per product. It's too easy. If we come back to the example, I want to extract the total sales per month or total sales per year. To do this, you need to convert this data into the year or month and then make the same process to extract total sales per year. To convert this value to year, you just need to select this column, then go to the transform tab, and from here, pick, for example, year. It converts all the values into the year and then change the column name. It's not required, but to make clear the process, I change the column name and then again go to the home tab, group by, and pick year as a grouping column and sum as the operation on the column quantity and call it as a total quantity and press OK. It provides the total sales per year. But what if I want to extract total sales by different months? Here I know that the data include both year of 2023 and 2024, and converting the values to the months from transform tab, you can pick, for example, months by number or months by name, and providing the grouping by going to the home tab and pressing on the date. It's months actually, but I do not change the column name and say total quantity by sum operation on column quantity. It resulted these table and merge all the values for the year 2023 and 2024. And it's not the desired result. If you want to change them to the separate rows for data on 2023 and 2024, you should change the procedure. We can do all the things in the Table.Group, and I will talk about it later, but at this stage, to solve this problem, I'm going to select this column, change the type as a date, and then instead of converting to the months, I will select a split column by delimiter and use a slash as a delimiter and press OK. Now all the values for the year and months are provided. I can select year, rename it as a year, and rename it as a month. And now by selecting this column and group by, I can pick more than one column as a group. Here is the year, but by going to the advanced column, I can add grouping column to the months also. So grouping start by year, then by month, and it's calculated total quantity by sum operation on the quantity, column quantity, and provide this result for both year 2023 and 2024. At each step, you can change the grouping settings. Imagine I want to add also average of values on quantity column. So I can add AVG, use operation as average, and on column quantity. I can also count the rows or number of transactions. So I can add lots of operation here and also lots of column for grouping. I'm pressing OK. Year, months are grouping column, and these three are the calculation column. So let's go to the next example. This is the same as previous one with different format. We have product name, color, and quantity. And I want to extract the total sales, total quantity per product. But I want to show also color of products. To do this, I can select this column and right click on it and use group by. So total quantity is the same as previous one. I'm going to write total quantity by selecting sum as operation on quantity. I'm pressing OK. It's easy, but what if I want to add the color of sold products on new columns? It should be calculated because if I'm going to select it as a grouping column, let's select it as a column. It consider A with different color as different rows. So I should use this color column on the operation. But let's select it. Let's change it, for example, average or sum, no matters. But when I select sum here and color here, it's weird because color is in text and it cannot operation like sum, average, max, and mean. But there is no other useful function. This one is really useful. I will talk about it later. But here, let's select sum and right here as a color. Press OK. There is no doubt that the result of summing colors are error. By selecting these, it's mentioned that it cannot apply this operation on value in type text. But let's look at the formula. Here we have the formula of Table.Group, including the first three arguments. The first argument is source, name of previous step, and name of our table that we are going to summarize their value. The second argument is product. It determines the grouping column. You can add another column, such as column, and pressing check mark. Sorry, I think I write it in a wrong column. That's the date. It's more easy to write. So product. So let's check it. There is no date. Let's write week. Yeah. By pressing week, you can see that it's provided as a two separate grouping column. But in this example, I do not need this value. I just need to grouping based on product. And the third input, which is really important, is the operation. Here is a list. All of this value is one argument, the third argument of Table.Group, including two sublists. This is the first sublist and is used for calculation of total quantity. Initially, the name of new column is presented, total quantity. Then the operation or type of function is provided here. And in the third, which is optional, the type of result column is provided. I can remove this. It doesn't important in this example. The same thing happened for the next operational column. Let's input it in the next level. It's color, name of new column. Its formula is list the sum of column colors, and this is also type text that I do not need. Okay. Here we can change the type of operation. If you are going to use list group.row from UI, you just have this type of function which can be applied on the numbers. But if you want to use something in the text, you can change the operation here. This is function text.combine. It's easy to use. Combine. Let's replace list.sum by text.combine and see the result. It's going to combine all the colors by product. To add separator, you can use the second argument of this function. Let's put a comma, a space as the separator. See, you can result is these values. But there is a problem because it's included repeated duplicate colors like black and black. To remove duplicate colors, you can use another parameters. But before going to use another function, let's check it here. If I'm going to remove this one and replace it by underline, the whole formula, each underline, and press it OK. This means that provide all the rows in the main table related to product R. If I go into table, the main table, and filtered up, you can see these are the rows for product A, including 7 rows. So by entering these parameters as each underline, all the 7 rows provided here as a table. And for the next product, all its related rows provided here. By adding something like color name, here I can add color and press enter, it changed to the list. You know that this means that extract the values on color column on this table. So it's entire list, including all the colors. To remove duplicate value, you can add list dot distinct. So all the duplicates are removed. There is no two black, there is no duplicate values, and we have a simple list. Now text.combine can be used. Before using text.combine, you can add more function. Let's sort these values, it would be more appropriate. So you can add list.sort here to sort the values of these list. Now we have it in ordinal. You know that to sort them descending, you can add one in the last argument. But here I'm going to use it ascending. Now I can use text.combine. Like the previous example, let's add a comma, a space as a separator. I think there is a miss parenthesis. Yeah. See, it should be here. Yeah. So in the third argument of this function, you can add your custom function and work on the text, tables, lists, and other type of values. Let me talk about it later in advance. So come back to the example and consider these values. We are going to talk about the fourth argument, which is really important. You cannot change the fourth argument by UI. Let's check the Microsoft document and check these function arguments. I'm going to use Google. Let's use Table.Group and check what is the fourth argument and fifth argument. Here, its definition of this function. Its syntax includes 5 arguments. The first is table, I talked about it, we use source. The second is key, that I said that it's a grouping column. You can add more in type of text inside a list. And the third is the aggregation column in type of list. But fourth and fifth argument are optional. The fourth determines the group count, and the fifth determine the comparator, which are really, really useful. For the fourth argument, you can use 2 types of group. You can use group kind.local and group kind.global. The basic settings of Power Query on this function is group kind.global, but you can change it to reach your desired results. Let's check it by example. Here we have different data for the states, and we are going to group it based on week. So right click on it and use group by, select total quantity on column quantity and press OK. So it's resulted it's merged all the values related to week 1 in this row. Let's check it. Instead of using total quantity, let's provide all the values, each underline. Yeah. So see, For the week one, there is no matter is it for January, for February, or for March, all of them are provided here. And the reason is that the grouping logic is global and it's going to check all the week one on the whole table, no matter its location, and merge them together, group them together. But what if I just want to group these three values together and these values separately? To do this, you can use the force argument and change it to group kind.local. I'm pressing it. Now there are three different week one for January, one for February, and one for March. The same thing happened to others weeks. So by inputting group kind.local or inserting 0, there is no difference. All the rows near each other group together, and the rows which are far from each other are not grouped together. It can be useful in some cases. But what is the fifth argument? Let's check it the next example. This example is the same as previous one. Nothing changed. The only thing that is different is about this column. Some of the product name are lowercase, some of them are uppercase. If I'm going to group it, product, and say total quantity as an operation column by operation on quantity, and press OK, it results is table. And do not merge or do not group the rows related to uppercase A with lowercase a, because Power Query is case sensitive. But with the fifth argument, it is true that you can go and transform the values to the uppercase and then group them. But this example is used to learn what is the fifth argument, and we will go and expand, apply our knowledge on the more advanced example. So let's check it, how we can solve this problem by the fifth argument. In this example, we are going to, our group kind is definitely global, because no matter A is near to each other or far from each other, we want to group them together. So the fourth argument is 1, or group kind global. In the fifth argument, you can use function. Usually we use custom function with 2 input parameters that we will talk about it deeply later. But besides the function, you can use a compare dot ordinal ignore case also. This means that it is the simplest way. This means that neglect the case of texts and make both uppercase and lowercase together. So press enter. It's result in the desired table. Let's check it again. Replace these by underline and see. Yeah, we mentioned that its type is number. So here is uppercase A and lowercase a. So by entering this value, it means that neglect the type of component. But this argument is more than this example. Let's check it in another example. Imagine we want to merge based on months. Before going to the next level, is there any question in the comment? If there is question, let me know. If there is no, we can continue.
There is no question, mate. I'm checking the question and comment section. So for those people online with us and watching us, if you have any question, please feel free to add it in the chat section, and I will ask those questions from Omid at the end of the session or between these examples. So no question, mate. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, very. So in this example, I want to merge based on months column. But there is lots of null value. It is true that you can select this column, go to the transform and use fill done to fill these cells. But I do not want to do this because I want to talk about the fifth argument in depth and use it in the more advanced example. So without filling the null values, let's right click on it and select merge, group, yeah, and use, let's select all rows, yeah, call it up and press OK. So there is no doubt that it's going to group all these null value together, these rows, and these rows, because all of them are null in the column ones. By changing this part of formula is because we use all rows, this part of formula is to there is nothing to do in this example, so I can remove it to make the formula more readable. So I'm going, let's check, nothing changed because it's determined the type of column. So I'm going to change the grouping logic to the local by entering 0 in the fourth argument. The result will be like this. This is the all these null value group together, all these null value group together, and all these null value group together. But I want to group from this row to the last null value. For the next grouping should be a start from this row to the last null value. And for the merge also the same should be happening. To solve this problem, the fifth argument can be had. I thought that these arguments can be used in type of function, but two input function. So let's use the function definition by two parameters, a and b. Here I should write a formula which results in the number. Based on the result, the grouping will do. At the beginning, A means the first row. Let's consider this. At the beginning, A means the first row. And B is considered the next row, next row, next row until the end. If the result of formula B1, the grouping for current group will be stopped and next group is generated. So, and if the result of function be anything except 1, the grouping for this group will be continued. So I need to use the formula, write the formula, which result in 1 on this row. Let's check it. If the value on this column be something different, not equal to null, it can be handy. So I'm going to write here, A is the starting point for the grouping, so I do not need A, I need B because B is the next row. So B on column marks not equal to null. So let's check the result of this formula. For the first row, it's false, it's true, and it's resulting false. For this row, it's also true, and it's resulted true. Sorry, it's not resulted, but it's resulted true. And for this row also, it's resulted true. I thought that if the result of function B1 not true, B1 the next grouping will be a start. So we need to convert this true false result to 1 and 0 by using number dot from and pressing enter. It does so, and by checking these, it includes all the rows starting from January until reaching non-null cells, which is February. The February, its grouping started from the February and continue until the next 4 null values and stop by the next, which is March. See, these are 4. The result of function for this null value is 0. So the grouping will be continued, but as reach to this value, the result of function would be 1, and grouping for February group will be a stop, and the next grouping will be start. So by considering these logic, we are going to solve several problems. In the next problem, we have data in the wrong format. This is one of challenge on my LinkedIn. You can change different solution on my LinkedIn, but here we are going to solve it by group by. This is the customer info in two columns. On the attribute column, it's mentioned that name of customer is John, family is something, and it provides different information. For the next customer, their info is provided behind the previous customer. Name, family, phone, website. For the next one, name and family is provided. And also for the next. This is the short version of B challenge. And we want to convert it in appropriate format, including name in one column, family in one column, phone and website in separate columns. And the rule is that all the customer info is started by the name. So it's started from here to reach it the next name. To solve this problem, I'm going to use group by. I think it's the easiest way for solving this problem. So let's select group by, use attribute as a grouping, and let's pick all rows and call it up. Okay. Like previous example, let's remove this extra information to increase the readability of formula. By doing this, all the name values are combined here. All the families are combined here, and for the phone and for the website. But I want to start the grouping from this row until reaching the name value on this column. So like the previous example, I can add 0 in the grouping kind and define two variable custom function here by number dot from and b value on this column attribute equal to name and pressing check. The grouping is changed. Based on this logic, it start the first row and will be continue until reach the name on attribute column. So it start from the first row and continue grouping until reach this row. At this row, the previous group will be stopped and the next group will be generated. Starting from this row until reaching the next name on this row. So value of the first customer, second customer, third, and fourth customer, no matter the number of rows. Because in this example, some of customers have missing information. So the rest is easy. Instead of using these, each underline, as a result of column R, you can transpose it. See, this table include two columns. You can transpose it and provide this value on the first row and this value on the second row. So let's use table.transpose underline. It resulted this. I cannot expand this column because here column 2 is family, but here column 2 is website. So I cannot expand it. Instead, I should promote the headers. This row should be considered as a header and then expand it. So let's change the formula by adding table.promote headers. Promote headers, yeah. Now, the first row of each table is considered as a headers. See, and now I can expand this column. So, and this is not required. Let's remove it. So, by table.group, these type of formats are reshaped to the desired format, including separate columns for each field and separate rows for each customer. In the next example, let's jump to the sixth example. If we have time, I will come back to the fourth example. Let's check it here. Yeah, let's consider this and then we'll be back. So, in this example, before talking about this example, see the previous example. In the grouping condition, we just use the first, the b, the value on the grouping. But in this example, we are going to change the logic. Here, all the values on each column are sorted, and I want to merge the value starting from this row until reaching the next value, which is 28. On the other word, the bins of each group should be less than 10. The difference between minimum value and maximum value should be less than 10. To solve this, you can do it in different way, but I'm going to use grouping like previous example. So select grouping this column, provide all rows and write it as a R. Press OK, remove extra info here and press OK. Nothing changed. Actually, just those who are in the same age are grouped together, and those who are unique in their age are considered as the first row table. Like previous example, as the source table are sorted on the edge, I can use 0 or group height as a local here. It doesn't change any on the result. And for the next, I'm going to use A and B as input of functions. You know, this means that there is a function including two input parameters. And like previous, let's use number.from and write the formula here. I told that A is the first row of grouping and B is the next rows, and continue until reach the condition equal to 1 for this formula. So in this example, I need to calculate the difference between age on B, on row related to B, and the first row. So B age value minus A age value should be considered as a logic here. I put it on the parentheses, and it should be greater than and equal to 10. Let's press OK. It's resulted this grouping table from 18 to 28. All are merged, all are grouped in the first row. 18, all the values less than 28. For the next, it starts from 28 until 37. For the next, it starts from 38 to 46. And the next, it starts from 49 to 53. And in this example, instead of just considering value of B, we consider both the difference between B and A as a condition for grouping. In this example, we can solve the problem in another way also. Let's change the question to the type that we want to group all the ages between 10 to 20 in the same group, 20 to 13 in the same group, 30 to 40 in the same group, and something like this. In this case, no matter is it 0 or 1, but this function can be changed. Instead of using number.from, you can use value.compare. Value.compare, let's check it. What is value.compare? Value.compare 2 and 3. It's going to compare these two values and result it. -1 if the first value be less than the next value, and let's use it as 3 and 3. It's resulting 0 if both are the same, and 4 if this value be greater than this value. By considering these, so this function is resulted -1, 0, and 1. Based on this info, we can use it here. Instead of comparing A and B, we can use this value to change the logic for grouping. And let's use a number dot integer divide of A and 10, sorry, A age column, and number dot integer divide of B column age and 10. I'm pressing enter. So all the values between 10 to 20 here, 20 to 13 is here, 30 to 40 is here, and 40 to 50, and the same for the next. So in the fifth argument, you can change the logic of grouping. And usually you can use number.from or value.compare. The next example is really advanced and it's different. In the previous example, we just considered the value on the first row of grouping and last row of grouping. In this example, we are going to consider all the values between these two rows. Here we have the complaint transaction. In each transaction, one person can complain about separate department. For example, here in this transaction, this complaint ID includes 4 separate departments, and we want to check these complaints by grouping them. In each group should be just 5 complaints. So grouping starts from here. It continues until reach 5 complaints. 1, 1, 2, 1. These would be first group. The next group would be these 2 values. The next would be these 3 values, and it will continue to the next. So in this case, after starting grouping logic, it will be continue on to reach the sum of all the values less than 5. Sorry, greater than 5. It's really advanced. To solve this and make it more easy, I prefer to add index column. With an index column, we can use this date column as the index, but it's become a little bit harder. So make it easier, I'm going to add this index column. Let's rename it. I hate this space syntax. Let's insert it as an under. So I'm going to right click on it and use group by on index, and let's pick all rows. Yeah. All. Okay. In this case, the extra info should be removed. I'm going to present it a little bit fast because we are out of time. In this case, the logic for combining is local. It's nothing changed because index column is unique. And for the custom function, I'm going to use A and B and function size. I'm going to, A and B is in type of index. I'm going to use this table, but not all the values, just values on this column. Let's copy and paste. Yeah. I need the values on this column. This is in type of list. So I can select list.range by selecting not all of the list, just a specific part of this list. Which part? We are going to consider, for example, for the first row, our starting point is here. It continues until this value. For the next row, a starting point is here. So in list.range, a starting point is A index, and the number of rows or number of items that we want to extract is equal to B index minus A index. But this function is resulting in type list. We should convert it to the numbers because we want to compare it by the value 5. So let's edit list dot sum and close parenthesis. Yeah. This is resulting number, but all of the number are different than maybe one because nothing match here. But I'm going to compare it with value 5. So this is result in true or false because we compare it with value 5. To convert it to the number 0 or 1, number dot from can be added here and press enter. It's going to group these values. It's not the desired grouping, but it's almost done. By selecting these, see the first 5 rows are considered in the first group. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. But here we need just 5. 4 of first rows. These ones should be considered in the next group. So I'm going to add here -1, +1, and press enter. So it's starting from here. These are 5 complaints. This is 5 complaints. This is 5 complaints, and the same for the rest. Now you can extract the list of complaint ID. It's almost easy. You can edit complaint ID space ID, yeah, and type list and then combine them together. Text dot combine this value together and press enter. And at the last part, comma space as a separator. So by this method, we provide the grouping of complaints. In each group, less than 5 complaints are included. So is there any problem? Is there any question about this topic?
There is no questions, but I can tell you I'm always surprised and shocked by your smart way to solve this type of questions. So if I want to do that, I had to add a million steps there, doing this. But really like the way you just done, and always surprised by your smart ways, man, to solve these questions. Really great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Table.Group is more than what I present here. Try to solve your problem. My channels are one of the best source that you can try your knowledge on this function and explore more about this function. I hope.
I shared your, sorry for interruption. I shared your LinkedIn in the chat in the comment section. So highly recommend to follow me on LinkedIn. He is running challenge Power Query challenges every day, and more than 30 or 40 people always answer those and just attend to those challenges, accept those challenges, and back with some new solutions. So it's a great source of knowledge if you want to find out different ways to solve some questions, and most of them are like an normal business questions. So highly recommend to follow me and just put up your sleeves and attend to those challenges, share your knowledge, learn from people, and I believe that after 5, 6, or 10 challenges, you can understand, you can feel your knowledge is improving and increasing. So thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Wahid, for all the things.
Yeah. So this is the second session. Correct me if I'm wrong, Omid. So we will have another session for because we had the merging and grouping. We talk about the grouping now, so we will have another one for the merging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So that's really good. So if you have any questions, but you can save it for the next session, maybe. You can follow Omid again and reach out to Omid there directly, or add them to those challenges. By the way, that was a great mate. Really love your session, and see you soon, guys.
See you.
See ya.